for me, when I teach these clinics, I see a lot of people hitting forehand dinks and hitting forehand drops, doing this. I think you should be doing this, finishing on the same side of your body. In tennis, you finish on the opposite side of your body. That's how you hit a forehand with a lot of pace. And everything in tennis, you're trying to hit it pretty hard. There's no dinks in tennis, but on a soft shot in pickleball, so those dinks, those drops and resets, you want to finish on the exact same side of your body. So you do that because it eliminates the use of wrist. Right shoulder, if you're righty, it's going to be here. That's what it's going to look like. It's not going to do this. Thank you for watching another one of my episodes here, James Ignatowich Show. So we are going to get into some new theories. So I'm always watching the other pros play, and I'm always teaching a lot of clinics and getting through a lot of the different levels of whether it's 5-0 play or 4-0 play. And there are some new theories that are emerging as it relates to pickleball in general, not just the pro game. And the first one that I think is getting a lot of traction is that you should not necessarily just be moving with your partner in the transition zone. You should be the same distance from the ball as your partner in the transition zone. So what that means is if I'm in transition, I just hit a third shot and my partner is right here directly to the right of me or to the left of me. So he's not in front or behind me by any amount. That might not actually be correct. So people are starting to say that you should be the same distance from the ball because that's the best way to cut off the angles. When you're facing somebody, especially if you've popped up the ball a little bit. Ideally, you've popped it up to the middle because it's better to pop up the ball to the middle than it is to the sideline. But either way, being the same distance from the ball when you're on defense in transition might be a better way than if you are moving directly, in just right there with your partner. So obviously, when you're at the kitchen line, you should be kind of pretending like you're tied to your partner in some sort of way, like you're the exact same distance. And if your partner takes a couple steps to the right, you should take a couple steps to the right. And if your partner takes a couple steps to the left, you should take a couple steps to the left, and you should be sort of tied to your partner. You might have been told that that's the best way to cover the middle. You don't want there to be any issues with the middle. But when you're in the transition zone, I actually think that the most winners that are hit and the toughest shots to deal with are ones that are hit to the sideline. Because if you can hit a ball to the corner, you have a ton of extra space there when you're up at the kitchen. For example, let's say I'm up at the kitchen and you're in the transition zone and I have a shoulder high ball up here and I'm ready to put the ball away. If I'm on my sideline and I go directly down the line to put that ball away, from me to that baseline down the line in front of me is the same distance as if I were to go all the way cross court and then say maybe halfway in between the baseline and the kitchen line. Because of the geometry of the court, that cross-court angle is actually a lot more lethal of a put away than it is for me to go directly down the line or down the middle, which is the exact opposite in the situation of being at the kitchen. Because if you're at the kitchen and you try to put a ball away cross-court with a speed up and you go past, for example, if I'm here on the left and you go over my left shoulder, cross-court angle at the kitchen, it's going out no matter what, because there is no extra space that way. So to summarize that, the best putaways or speed ups in the middle or down the line, that's where it's going to be when you're at the kitchen, in the middle or down the line. But when you're putting the ball away at the kitchen against somebody who's back there in the transition zone, I think it's easier to go cross court. So what that means is instead of covering the middle most effectively, which is what you do if you are directly even with your partner, what you should, I think, be doing is being the same distance from the ball. So what that means is if I'm here and directly in front of me is the player who has the ball and I'm in transition, I'm a few feet in front of the baseline and my partner is over there to the right of me, they should actually be a few feet in front of me, right? So that we're the exact same distance from the ball. And if my partner, right, if my partner is playing, let's say the person in front of him has the ball up here, they're about to crush the ball, which makes me now cross court from that opponent who's hitting the ball. I should be closer to the kitchen line, right, than my partner, because that would make us the same distance from the ball. So if this is a little confusing to you, if you're having a tough time understanding what I'm explaining, which would make a lot of sense because we don't have any visual representations here at the James Ignatowich podcast. Unfortunately, maybe one day we will, but right now I just have a couple notes. I've actually got notes today, which is better than what I normally have. But if this is confusing you at all, which totally would make sense, even I'm confused slightly explaining it, go out there when you play, and all that it means is be the same distance from the ball as your partner. So this is in the transition zone. So you go out there, somebody's got an overhead, you look at yourself, look at your partner, are we the same distance from the ball? And that will almost never mean that you are the same distance from the kitchen line, unless the ball is directly in the middle. If the ball's on the sideline, that means that the person who's cross court from that ball will be a little closer to the kitchen line, because that's how geometry works. Hey guys, James Ignatowich here. Just want to tell you about the new Selkirk 008. I've been loving the paddle. It's got the new pure foam technology. It's got a ton of grit, ton of pop. I feel like the control is great also, and it's coming in the different shapes. You can get it in the tour shape, you can get it in the epic shape or the Invictus shape. So you'll have all the options you need. Definitely give the 008 a try, because I think it's something that you will not want to miss. Now we're going to get into the next topic. If a speed up comes from the middle, through the middle, how do you cover it, right? So everybody knows that if a speed up comes from the sideline, the player, for example, let's say I'm here, somebody in front of me is hitting a speed up. So that means somebody down the line straight on is hitting a speed up at me. I'm covering the down the line, and I'm kind of covering what's at my body, and my partner's covering the middle. And conversely, if my partner is to the right of me, and whoever is playing, let's say in front of them, and they're hitting a speed up from the sideline, my partner's covering the line, and then I'm covering the middle. That's how it works, obviously. But if a speed up comes from the middle, through the middle, who is guarding it? And a lot of people will say, oh, it's the forehand in the middle, right? No matter what, it's got to be the forehand in the middle. If it comes from the middle, forehand in the middle. No, not the case. So they talk about the X, right? Which is what I talked about in the beginning, which means that the cross-court player is covering the middle in either situation. So I'm here, I'm covering the cross-court middle, because if they go to the left of me, it's going out anyway. But if the speed up comes directly from the middle, through the middle, is it the left side player's forehand? Maybe they have first right of refusal to it. I've actually found, and this is why this podcast is called New Theories. It's a new theory, that I think both players should just go for the ball if it's a speed up. So way more often will there be a speed up hit from the middle, through the middle, that is a winner. Then will there be a speed up hit from the middle, through the middle, where both players on the other side clank paddles. They both try to get it, and they clank paddles, and neither of them get it because they're both so on it. That's a lot more rare than the first situation, which is just a speed up, through the middle winner. So the reason there's a lot of speed ups hit from the middle, through the middle that are winners is because the left side player who thinks it's their forehand in the middle, naturally their first instinct is going to cover backhand at their chest. Because for me, and I think for most players, if somebody's about to hit a speed up and you can tell that they're going to hit a speed up, your first instinct is to cover your body with your chest. And at the higher levels, that becomes even more commonplace. Because think about it, if a speed up comes directly to your chest, you have to hit a backhand. You cannot hit a forehand there. It's almost impossible unless you have a pancake grip. So the person on the left side is kind of thinking backhand, and then the person on the right side sees the speed up coming from the middle, through the middle, and they're thinking, oh, my partner's forehand in the middle. It's their ball. So really what I think you should be doing is you should both be going for it, especially at the lower levels. Both go for it. And then if you clank paddles in the middle, well, okay, great job, right? You're going to clank paddles in the middle. And then honestly, if you do clank paddles in the middle right there, the ball will go left or right, and it'll probably stay in. Okay, I'll repeat that. So if somebody that you're playing against speeds up a ball from the middle, through the middle, and then you and your partner both go for it at the same time, right? And then you clank paddles and you say, oh, shoot, sorry, hope I didn't hit your hand, right? Whatever it is that has happened, then the ball is going to go into a crazy left or right situation. You don't know exactly where it's going to go, but it'll probably stay in since it's from the middle. So to recap, If somebody's about to crush the ball and it's right in that middle situation and you don't know if it's your left side player's forehand or if it's not yours or if it is yours, I think both players should just go for it because that is a better and I think just a more efficient overall way of covering that particular situation than it is to just say, okay, left side player's forehand, and then eventually there's going to be a lot of balls hit from the middle through the middle that are winners. Because when I go around and I teach these clinics, I think the lower and lower level you get to, I think at the 3-5 level, there are so many winners hit through that spot. Mainly also because the net is lower, right? So there's middle confusion. And I think what this new theory is doing is eliminating that middle confusion, saying both people just go for it, right? Then there's no more middle confusion. It's just see the ball, go for it. But also the net is 34 inches in the middle and it's 36 inches on the side. So that extra 2 inches definitely makes a difference. And that's why I think there's a lot of winners hit in that situation. Lastly, that is somebody's forehand. If somebody's hitting a ball in the middle, if any ball is being hit from the middle, 90-something% of the time, that's going to be your opponent's forehand. Rarely are there ever backhands being hit in the middle, especially at the lower levels. At the higher levels, you might see some pros, reaching in with a backhand flick or trying to get a two-handed backhand there. But as you go down in level, it's almost always going to be a forehand there anyway. So it's a dangerous spot. And the other reason too, if the ball is being hit from the middle, it really can't be hit to the sidelines with a lot of pace. So it has to go through the middle if they hit it hard. Okay, so I'll repeat that. If the ball is coming from the middle and somebody is hitting it hard, it cannot really go that hard to the sidelines with a lot of pace because of the geometry of the court. It's probably going to be going out. Okay, so I wish we had a visual representation for that too, but that's super important. So if that makes sense, let me know. If it doesn't, let me know in the comments. And lastly, so we're going to talk about finishing on the same side of your body on the forehand with soft stuff. So this is super important. For me, when I teach these clinics, I see a lot of people hitting forehand dinks and hitting forehand drops, doing this, going on the opposite side of the body. I think you should be doing this, finishing on the same side of your body. So if you ever watch Pro Pickleball, the females do it even better than the males in this situation. Every forehand soft shot, for the most part, so if it's a dink, if it's a reset, or if it's a third shot drop, they're finishing on the same side of their body. So it'll look like this, right? And even if you want to take a big backswing, you can. It looks like this. Here. That's what a forehand drop looks like. Not this. Not coming over like that. So that's where pickleball distinguishes itself from tennis. In tennis, you finish on the opposite side of your body. That's how you hit a forehand with a lot of pace. And everything in tennis, you're trying to hit it pretty hard. There's no dinks in tennis. And it's the same thing with a drive in pickleball or a return of serve or a serve itself in pickleball or a speed up. You do finish on the opposite side of your body and you'll come over it. But on a soft shot in pickleball, so those dinks, those drops and resets, you want to finish on the exact same side of your body. So you do that because it eliminates the use of wrist. So you can't really use your wrist if you're just doing this. This is just a motion that is coming entirely from the arm. I think it's a lot more consistent to do it that way than it is to come over the ball. So the reason that you come over the ball from right to left, if you're a righty, that would mean coming from right to left, is so you get topspin and power. And you can get a lot of topspin if you do this, and you can get a lot of power if you do that. But on the dink or a drop or a reset, you're not trying to get a lot of power and topspin. You're just trying to make the ball. You're going to get some topspin. And of course, you can get a bit of topspin, a good deal of topspin, actually, if you finish on the same side of your body. And you can watch the pros do that. But you're not optimizing for topspin. You're not optimizing for power. What you're optimizing for is, can I make this shot 20 times in a row? And you can make this shot 20 times in a row. It's a lot easier to do so than it is if you go across your body. So what that means is one good mental cue for it is every time you hit a forehand topspin drop or a forehand topspin dink, try to think of it as your right arm is finishing on the exact same side of your body. It's not going across your body. So right shoulder, if you're righty, it's going to be here. That's what it's going to look like. It's not going to do this. So that's pretty much it. If you have any questions on that, let me know. And otherwise, thank you for watching.